Hi, I'm Rick Conlow. Thanks for coming. I want to talk to you about how to motivate your team in 30 minutes or less. Now, that's a bold claim, but I want to tell you that my business partner and I, Doug Watsaba, in our consulting and training company, that we've been working with clients all over the world for the last 19 years, and we go into situations where we can coach managers and leaders in there to be able to get results. Instead of taking a year to do it, we can get it done in 3-4 months. In other words, there are techniques and processes that you can use to accelerate your results. And why wouldn't it be good for you to know that? And a lot of that we have in our book, Superstar Leadership. But let's dig into this. What are the 7 deadly sins of team development? Why do managers have trouble with their teams? They're stuck. Maybe you've been in a situation like that. They're just not doing as well as they could be, or they're falling short of their goals, or they're just unable to work well together, so it's causing quality problems, service problems, intercompany problems. 7 deadly sins. Number 1, lack of direction, lack of clear expectations and goals cause people to do a little bit of everything. They're unfocused in terms of what would they do. In fact, we found that 80% of performance problems often come back to that. Second is they don't have a plan. In other words, the plan may be in the head of the leader, or maybe they've talked about it, or maybe on high they got the plan, but they haven't translated that into what do we need to do here together. So they haven't done that team planning together. Poor communication. They may have a plan, but they're not talking about what's working, what isn't working. They're not evaluating results. They're not reviewing results. Can you relate to some of these that I'm talking about? Number 4, poor measurement. In other words, they're not tracking. Heard from one manager in the government. He says, we have no ROI, he goes. Well, they do. They serve the public. And they ought to do it in a cost-effective manner. So with a little ingenuity and creativity, they can come up with some metrics to go by. Everybody can. And then lack of team training. Most people don't know how to work well together. I mean, if you look on the world scheme of things, at any point in time, there's 30 to 40 wars. Now, you would think after a few thousand years of development and human progress, we'd figure out how to work cooperatively. Well, it isn't. And quite frankly, it doesn't that way into organizations either. So part of what I'm saying here is people need to learn how to talk about a plan. They need to learn how to give their ideas. They need to learn how to give feedback. They need to know how to problem solve, how to deal with conflict. That's all part of team training. And as a manager, you should ask for that in your organization. If you don't get it, do a little study, train your people yourself. You can do that. You don't have to wait for HR or the training department to do it. Another big thing that gets in the way of team development is poor conflict resolution. Now, here's the thing. When there are problems, that's not a bad thing. Inevitably, there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be a breakdown in performance. The key is how you handle that. Do we blame? Do we shame? Do we ignore? Does you as a manager come in or someone else run roughshod over everybody else? So people need to learn how to handle conflict without stepping on people's toes and to build consensus. Key ingredient to effective teamwork. And then there's poor execution, not knowing how to get people to be able to execute the plan and to do it consistently with commitment and competence and clarity. That's a whole nother level of skills, but that also derails many teams. So when the bottom line in all this, it's ineffective leadership, because it's the leader's job to facilitate that. Does that mean the employees don't have any responsibility? No. A leader has responsibility for the whole team. An individual has responsibility for their part they contribute to the team. But leadership facilitates it and directs it and guides it. Wow. Any of these sound familiar? So what can you do to turn your team around? Let's say you got a team. I just thinking one right now that I went into last year, fourth quarter. They were stuck. They were behind in goals. They were down. They weren't motivated. They were just going through the motions. Weren't going to get any bonus. That's where they were at. So what do? 1, hold a team meeting. 2, hold one-on-ones. And then 3, follow it up. Sounds simple, right? Now, there's some complexity to that. I'm going to give you a couple key points in each of these. First, you hold a team meeting. That's where you start in 30 minutes. And what you do is you go to the team and you say to the team, hey, we're stuck. And I own part of that. So what I want to do today is facilitate clarifying our plan, writing it down, getting input from all of you, and we'll see where we go from there. So here, let me hand out this sheet of paper. So you hand out a sheet of paper. You have everybody write down what you think their top 3 goals are for the team. And then and after you do that, you break them into smaller groups. This particular team I was involved in had 10 people, 2 groups of 5. And they take a few minutes and brainstorm. What can we do to achieve our goals better? And by the way, one of the key things you might want to do is give them at least one key goal to include on some that they talk about. So now what you have is you've established a goal, you've asked them for some goal ideas, you break them into groups, and now they're brainstorming what they can do. You move from group to group, and what you do is facilitate, you appreciate, you recognize, you praise, you encourage. And then when they're finished, and you give them about 10 minutes to do that, maybe 12, 15 minutes, about half the time in the team meeting, you have them report out. And we put it on flip charts and we put it up on the wall. And then we go through. There may be some similarities and differences between the 2 groups. You pull that together and talk about that a little bit. And then at the end, you appreciate everybody's involvement. Because, 30 minutes will go fast here. And then you tell them what you will do is write all this information down. We'll hold a follow-up meeting in the next week, and we'll go through it again. Say, in the meantime, I want each of you to think about this, and then I'm going to come and meet with each of you one-on-one. We're going to have a discussion about your job. And I'll do it with everybody. It's not evaluation. It's what can we do individually to be even more effective at what we're doing. And so you said, and then I'll set those up with everybody. So off the team goes, and they're all talking about this. So right away you get their attention because you got them involved, you set a new tone, they're buzzing a little bit. Most of them, or at least some of them, will think that, hey, Rick's not going to follow through. So then you follow through with your one-on-ones. And you have one-on-one meetings for 15 to 30 minutes with each of them. You talk to them, you have them write down what they think their key job duties are, what are their strengths, what are their areas to improve, and also maybe some action steps they want to take in their job. You have them write that down. You do it with them and give feedback and guidance. You ask them first, then you give feedback and guidance after. When you're done, you have one sheet of paper for each person about their expectations, strengths, areas to improve, and the goals and plans to move forward. Now you'll get them buzzing even more. They're going, wow, what's this all about? Some will like the discussion and appreciate it. Some of the veterans maybe will think, who is this idiot trying to do this with me? It's what happens. Then, over the next week, you're following up. You're checking in with people, each of them, just informally. Hey, how's it going? Jared, what do you think about this? Sue-Ann, what did you think about this? Any other thoughts? And you're just checking in informally. So you've got kind of some reinforcement of what you need to do. And I'm here to tell you, we've done this time and time again, that what ends up happening is you begin to raise the energy level as long as you follow up and follow through. You hold your next meeting, you come back, begin reviewing the plan that you agreed to and the goals and the action steps and share an appreciation for what people have done. That kind of activity can turn a department around. By the way, the one that I went into, they exceeded their goals at those last 3 months of the year, and they all got a little bit of a bonus. Because I went in and did this, coaching their managers to do it. That's the kind of impact we can make with our team. It doesn't have to take forever. We can get it done today. Now, there are 7 keys to success on this. Be specific when you talk about goals and plans. As a team, be specific when you're talking one-on-one with people. When you recognize contributions, which is important. In the team meeting, individually, notice one of the key things that I talked about one-on-one is what are your strengths? So you recognize contributions there. Listen effectively. We have to be careful as a leader. We don't say, oh, we can't do that, Bill. We tried that once and it failed. Or, that's a stupid idea. Don't ever bring that up again. What we'll do is shut the team down. We got to listen and paraphrase. What I hear you saying is, let me make sure I get that point, Doug. What you're saying is, and so you can understand. You're getting everybody involved. How? Okay, they're all in the team meeting. They're all in the smaller groups. They're all contributing that way. They all get the one-on-one, and you follow up with each one of them informally one-on-one. See what I'm talking about here? There may be some conflict and disagreements to come up. Model that. Listen. Hear it out. Ask a few questions. Resolve it amicably. Come to consensus. You have to keep your commitments as a leader. You need to follow through. You need to do the one-on-ones. You need to do that informal follow-up I mentioned. You need to go back to your team and hold another team meeting. See what I'm talking about here? Now, the last point I want to mention here is you got to believe in your team. People can accomplish incredible things. Here are examples of some great teamwork. The one on the left, consistently, because the leader gets involved and uses some of the skills that I've talked about, they consistently are leaders in their company in sales, customer service, and profitability. The one on the right, they improve their sales 10 times to existing customers. I'm not kidding you. They got that kind of result. People have tremendous potential. People want to be great, and if they aren't, leadership won't let them be. Our role is to bring out the best in people. You know, Anthony Robles, Arizona State, 2011 NCAA wrestling champion, 125 pounds, 37-0 for the season. Notice anything about him? He's got one leg. Yet his mother brought him up that he was a champion, that he could do anything, and he learned to believe it. Could have been a different story. He could have been treated like an invalid and had no future, but he didn't believe it. And he went on. In fact, as he got really good at wrestling, guess what the competitors began saying? This isn't fair. He's got an advantage. Can you believe that? He's a champion. He went on to be a motivational speaker, and he's training for the 2016 Olympics. Wow! That's the kind of potential our people have. They're just waiting to be able to contribute. That's our role as leader. In our book, Superstar Leadership, we teach superstar leadership model that pulls all these skills together, not just in 30 minutes, but day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, and build trust, consistency, and passion. It creates employee engagement, which is so lacking in companies today. All the research says most employees aren't that excited about the work that they're doing. They can't wait to get out of there. They're only going there because the alarm went off and sent them there. As a leader, you can create a different environment and position your career for greater success by being different than everybody else. Hey, I have this dream that soars on golden wings. I visualize your achievement and your legacy that sings. I do not know all about your awesome goals or your persistent efforts to raise the bar. I only know that you can be the best, a superstar. Hey, thank you for coming, and take care.